Environmental Service Specialist with Crow Wing County, and I focus on the AIS program here. We're just going to kind of go over the feedback session we had on October 20th, and I just want to say a huge thank you for everybody who participated in this presentation, who provided feedback. We really appreciate that feedback that we received from Lake Association members and use that for future planning. And so here's just a brief summary of some comments that were announced at that presentation. And so we saw a lot of comments about, inspector and hiring issues and how we missed some inspections. So we are looking into alternative ways of advertising for watercraft inspectors and having better recruitment for years to come. We also are improving our decontamination outreach and education, kind of looking into our mobile Decon online map so it's more easy to use for the public and kind of having more education and outreach on how to use that. We are also looking into contacting and partnering with some more AIS user groups in the county, fishing tournaments, resorts, schools, organizations, just trying to get the word out of all of our efforts that we do year after year. Milfoil treatments, I'm sure you guys have been receiving a lot of emails from the DNR and myself on some of these AIS control grants. It has increased in 2022, so we highly suggest Lake associations take advantage of this opportunity and apply for these grants. And then we also heard a lot of positive feedback that Lake associations appreciate the updates that they've received from the county bi-weekly during the summer months. So this is just a recap that we did go over in the wrap-up presentation, but we did have 7 infested lakes in Crow Wing County in 2021. In 2020, we had 6, and then in 2019, we only had 1. In 2021, we did have a new infestation of faucet snails. And those that aren't familiar, faucet snails were first recorded in the Great Lakes in the 1870s, but the first population in Minnesota was confirmed in Lake Winnie in 2008. And so they don't have the same production as zebra mussels, so they aren't as much as a risk like zebra mussels are. And so hopefully we can really educate people on faucet snails in Lower South Long Lake and provide the public with that information so we don't see some more spread throughout the county. This is just a graph that I like to show Lake Association members of the differences between infested water bodies in Crow Wing County and the state of Minnesota. The state of Minnesota is referred to as the blue line on top, and Crow Wing County is the orange line on the bottom. And as you can see, in 2021, the state had probably over 50 infested water bodies listed on the infested water body list, and Crow Wing County had 10. This includes rivers and lakes. My last slide just include lakes, so just for your reference. So every year in September, the state awards AIS Aid funds to all the counties for AIS prevention plan funds. And so this year in 2021, we were awarded just over $462,000, which is really great. The county received an additional 22,000 AIS aids because county staff, including myself, went out and checked each public access throughout the county and checked how many parking spots were at each access. So we have accurate data on our public accesses throughout the county. And as you can see, we have allocated a big chunk of what the state has gave us to watercraft inspections. This allocation includes 15,984 watercraft inspection hours on 44 accesses across the county. This also includes hiring costs, salaries for inspectors, training, supplies, and a small portion of my salary. And so the county relies on the Mazurk model called the AIS Explorer to prioritize watercraft inspectors on public land use throughout the county. And so we look at a big list of 62 lakes were identified, but not all of these lakes have a public landing on them. So I have to do a little manipulation to the data to make sure that we are looking at the lakes that have a public access. And with that part to this, it predicts coverage for approximately 80% of our water bodies. Moving from infested to uninfested water bodies. And the county also contributes its average boat per hour inspected data with the last 3 years on 37 lake accesses. So between the AIS model and our average boat per hour inspection data, this is how we determined where we're going to have watercraft inspectors throughout the county. So looking at 21 versus 2022 for watercraft inspections, our proposed 2022 allocates for the just over 15,000 inspection hours, which is a decrease from 2021. This decrease is a result of our inspection season ending Labor Day weekend. So we're starting fishing opener on some of these landings, and we're ending all of the landings on that Labor Day weekend. So that's where we're going to see that decrease. And so we base our allocation hours determined by AIS risk. So we have our high AIS risk landings, which we identified 23 in the county. That will be staffed 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday through Sunday, beginning fishing opener and ending Labor Day weekend. We have moderate risk landings that will also be beginning fishing opener and ending Labor Day weekend. And then we have our low risk, which will actually be starting beginning Memorial weekend and ending Labor Day weekend. And then we have a very low risk that will be staffing during the 3 holiday weekends, which include Memorial, the 4th of July, and Labor Day weekend. And here's our map that we identify in our proposed 2022 plan. So we have our high risk, which is red. We have the medium risk that is orange, and we have our low risk, which is yellow, and very low risk as in green. And so here's a good spectrum of where we will be staffing our watercraft inspectors for the 2022 season. So a few of the planning processes changes. Well, we are going to continue to hire a lead inspector to work closely with environmental service specialists. This did enhance our program significantly from 2021, doing spot checks on inspectors, answering questions, helping with outreach and education, training, and definitely fishing tournaments. And you can see a picture of our lead inspector, Brett, from last year, passing out our pilot program and working around a fishing tournament with the public. And they'll also be helping operating our decontamination units in the county. Another part of our plan is to increase our first year inspector wages to attract more applicants for this upcoming year. And we are trying to find more ways to word our seasonal inspector job positions and provide better advertising so we can get the perfect applicants for this position. Our decontaminations, we have our cross lake decontamination, which is going to stay the same days, and we are changing the hours to 9 to 6 instead of 9 to 5. That's what it was last year. So we'll have that staff Thursday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then we have our mobile decon unit will be staffed the same days, Friday through Sunday, and the same hours, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we don't really see too much change there. But we will have our decontamination start Memorial weekend and go through Labor Day weekend. We are also looking into new ways to increase our education and outreach for decons and just having that information easy for the public to really, advertise that these are free decons and we want people to use them. We have our education and outreach portion that we have allocated. We plan to continue our important partnership with Mississippi Headwaters Board through their Minnesota Tradition social media. campaign. They actually just produced some videos that I was able to see of some county AIS coordinators, including myself, recording some information for the public and kind of getting the word out through their campaign and their social media page. We are also new in 2022. We're funded, can be granted up to 25 lake associations that participate in the county's new Star Research Program. And so I'll be providing more details upon this new Star Research Program in the presentation a little more. We're also going to be expanding on our education and outreach materials. We're trying to do some presentation in public schools, youth groups, and civic organizations, and really getting that group involved. We will also continue to participate in our Starry Trek event in 2022, which will be in August. And so that will be our fourth season doing that Starry Trek event. We'll also be providing our inspectors with more materials and handouts at the access, and we will be giving out a survey in August for inspectors to hand out on the change of behavior that people are doing, on the steps they're taking to make sure that their boats are clean, drained, and dry. Also, I just wanted to highlight that MAZERC is offering a AIS Management 101 course. Registration is now open. If you are interested at all, you can visit the website on this presentation, or I'm sure you could Google MAZERC AIS Management 101 and the information will pop up. I highly suggest that you take this opportunity. So kind of diving into our new Star Research Program. So lake associations can receive a $200 incentive per public landing that they are searching for Starry, Stonewart, and other AIS. This incentive will go towards the cost of building the AIS rake, as you can see in the picture on the right, members' times and monthly reports, and just basic communication with myself. The sampling season will begin from June and go through July and August. So those 3 months will be our sampling season. I will be creating a step-by-step manual for lake associations on a sampling procedure and reporting guide. Also, there will be hands-on training with lake association members on sampling and AIS identification hands-on, so they can actually see what these look like instead of just throwing a rake out there and hoping for the best. And then also kind of filling out the reporting side of things and making sure that we hit all of our checks for that. So our main goal for this program is to stay ahead of the Starry Stonewart infestations throughout the county. And as a lot as you do know, Leech Lake was just currently infested with Starry Stonewart, and then we have it to the south and the north of us. So Crow Wing County is at high risk for Starry Stonewart infestation. Here's a map that the data was produced by the AIS Explorer MAZERC model that we use for prioritizing watercraft inspectors. There's also a surveillance for AIS. And so we take that data right from their AIS Explorer model, and we have created this map to better predict the chance of Starry Stonewart infestation. And so we see the orange lakes are more high risk. We got Mille Lacs and Gull. We see a thick band of people coming from Leech Lake or the other lakes that are infested to these, bigger, well-known fishing lakes. And then the yellow are the moderate concern, and then green are low concern. And so hopefully we get some lake associations that participate within these more, higher risk lakes that we see on this map. We are having milfoil treatment grants again for AIS monies for one survey and all treatments to control. We are only offering $2,500 per lake, and then we are offering to approve $500 for Lake Osawatomie. And because we see a decrease here, is because the state approved a one-time increase in funding for AIS control to lake associations in Minnesota. And we kind of mentioned this before, but it is open today, and it'll go through the February 21st to complete all applications within that 1 month time period. If you have any questions or concerns, or you just need some help filling out that application, I am more than willing to help you and your lake association so we can take advantage of this opportunity and provide lake associations with more funding. And we're continuing our zebra mussel villager and spiny water flea testing in July up to 25 lakes that are not infested by that AIS. And we'll also have some spiny water flea sampling available for lakes that are only infested with zebra mussels and not spiny water flea. So we will be continuing that program like we have been the last few years. So highlighting some significant changes that we have had in our plan. So this year we are staying at a consistent 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. shifts throughout all the public landings. We're not having, 9 to 7 or 9 to 5. We are keeping it consistent throughout all the public landings. Also, our watercraft inspector starting wage will increase by $1. So hopefully we get a better hiring return this upcoming year. And then our new STAR Research Program for lake associations to participate. Really excited about this program for this upcoming season, and I hope we get a lot of participation in that. We are also increasing our education and outreach, and we are increasing our information on our Decon unit. So that's stuff that will be in the works, and we'll be able to provide that information to lake associations and the public as we kind of get the season kicking off. And we'll also be working inspectors around fishing tournaments throughout the season like we have done in the past 3 seasons. And so those are the significant changes that you'll be seeing in our proposed 2022 plan.
I will go over the budget a little bit here, not too in detail, but as you can see, the percentage breakout of the actual budget, actual expenses here in 2021 is pretty close to our proposed budget. So our watercraft inspections were about 70% of our actual budgeted expenses last year. Our expanded inspection coverage was 16%. So obviously that is reimbursed from the lake association. So that's an expense that shows up on our end, but the revenue from the lake associations offsets that. We spent about 3% of our budget on education and awareness, 6% on the milfoil treatment, 5% of our budget is for decontamination. So that's the salaries for the decon, any repairs, winterizations, and any outreach that we do. And then the 1% is for that early AIS monitoring that Nicole just talked about for the villager testing. There's a little bit of a decrease in our inspections compared to what we budgeted. Just due to getting inspectors hired. So there were some holes on the landings a few weekends, so we didn't quite meet all of our hours as planned. And then on the milfoil treatments, there was some funds that were not requested just due to milfoil not being found in Emily and Mary Lake, so they did not request reimbursement for that. And then our 2022 proposed budget, as you can see, the percentages are pretty close to what our actuals were last year. Our watercraft inspections are about 75% of our budget. We did have some questions come in on that already. There is a little bit of an increase here, and yes, we're decreasing hours. So part of that is due to the $1 an hour increase to the starting inspector wage. Some of it is due to our work comp. We had a couple cases last year, and as work comp catches up, that will increase for us. And then our unemployment costs as well. County staff coordination is at 12%. We did allocate a little bit more of Nicole's wages to other funding sources and pulled them out of the AIS funds. Our education and awareness is at 3% again, milfoil 5%. Our decon is budgeted at 4%, and then the early AIS again is at 1%. The decrease in the milfoil is due to that one-time increase Nicole was talking about from the DNR. So we're here to help you guys get that increase in funding that they have. They have double what they have in past years. But otherwise, most of this has remained pretty constant for the last few years. We're kind of allocating about the same percentages to each area. So that's all we have on our actual presentation side. So now we're going to open it up to any questions, comments, any other miscellaneous feedback you might have for us on the plan itself.
Nicole, if I can, are the inspectors too at the landings going to be searching and for the stone work as well?
Yes, I think we have talked, a little bit internally that we will be providing a rake to inspectors for this upcoming season. So, when there's some slow times at the access, that they can throw the rake and see if there's any, possible AIS that they can find and go through some more hands-on training with myself.
Okay. Because really, it's the landings that are where that's being introduced into the lake. Am I correct on that?
Yes, every starry stone infestation has been at a public landing. And so that's where we see the highest of the risk. We don't see it throughout the lakes, maybe some boat arenas, but the DNR has only spotted it at the public landings.
When you touched on the high risk lakes, medium risk and low risk, when you said that the high risk, there's 23 landings. As I was looking at that, I think Pelican maybe has 3 landings that are high risk. Am I correct on that? Or it's not 23 different lakes, it's just 23 landings.
Correct. It's 23 different public landings. And so Pelican does have 3 that we staff and cover on that one. I think the Whitefish has 6. So yeah, there's different public landings on some of those bigger.
I bet there was 4.
Oh, and then wrong.
You said Pelican is medium risk, but we have
High.
4 landings. It's high, it was a yellow. Pelican's yellow, or Pelican's yellow, it's velvets.
I can put that map right back up here and check it out.
I'm seeing as red, but maybe I'm colorblind.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, you're talking about, I'm looking at the other map.
You were looking at this
Milfoil.
Milfoil, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, I was looking.
okay.
Yeah, so this is the watercraft inspection location. So just kind of referring to Pelican, there's those 3 accesses that we cover. And so that would be considered as a high risk.
It is 4, and it is 4 landings that are high risk.
No, we have 4.
Yeah, and they're all high risk.
You have Jones
Oh,
Bay.
yes.
I didn't look-
right.
I didn't
Because
see
I forget the
Jones.
resort for,
Yeah.
my apologies.
Yeah.
I give Taker 1, that ain't so bad.
Okay.
I just have a question, because I know like Whitefish had asked for more hours in the past, and then you didn't have staffing. What is the status now if one wanted more inspection hours, or doesn't that exist anymore?
So we offer our expanded coverage. We will be providing that information of our updated policy in March
Okay.
and letting the lake associations know that that is available, but it all depends on how many staff we actually hire throughout that season and are willing or ready to, be trained and out the door, when we start. And so that can depend on how our hiring is throughout the state.
Yeah, and if I can help on that, Susan, of those summary comments on the plan, the first 2 try to address that issue that we had with not only Whitefish, numerous lake associations that wanted expanded coverage. Our number 1 reason was we just didn't have the staff. So by, instead of $14, trying to get a new hire in at $15 and standardizing their work schedule. So we're not having them, end at 5, 6, or 7, depending on where you go, to try to bring some, more stabilization to their scheduling and their kind of work life, you could say, through the summer. We're hoping those 2 in conjunction will really get us over the hump, and we'll start getting, a lot more inspectors, so that then we can go ahead and meet the expectations of our customers with the expanded coverage.
So we're just looking at goals and where we can put some money that's gonna make a big effect. We don't want Milfoil, and we don't want starry stonework. So,
Yeah, we'll definitely be reaching out and providing that information, and hopefully we have the bodies this upcoming year.
We're recruiting Bill as we're talking right now. Get Bill on a landing,
good exposure.
Oh,
if we could get some help on lower and upper Michigan, it would be a big plus for us. Because there's only 3 of us that are volunteered that went through the classes, that went through it, my wife, myself, and Gary Rhodey. We're the only 3. We put in 60 hours between the 3 of us last year, and that wasn't enough. We just can't cover it. And once in a while, we have a fishing tournament out there, and there's nobody out there because I live right by the lower landing and I see boats going through all the time. So if we had somebody out there that could know when these fishing tournaments are and then go out and inspect these boats, that would be better.
Yeah, and so we identified Upper and Lower Mission in our plan as a very low risk. So we have them being staffed on those holiday weekends, Memorial, 4th of July, and Labor Day weekend, with some flexibility with fishing tournaments. If I get a list from the DNR and kind of word of mouth of when these fishing tournaments take place, and contacting the Lake Association. So if you have any word about a fishing tournament taking place this upcoming season, please reach out to me so we can kind of work together and be a little more flexible on that.
Has Mission had coverage in the past?
The last time they received coverage, if my memory serves me right, is 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, you haven't done it in a long time.
And
And now this year, I hope Upper Mission, we treated that last year for the erosion milfoil, $17,963. They treated the whole upper lake. So hopefully that's all gone this year. And there was a little spot down past me on the lower lake, and I talked to Nick about it. And I said, what are you gonna do about that? And he says, well, we can't do that. We ain't got the funding this year. And I said, well, if that comes up and then boats start going through that and they cut it, you know as well as me, all it takes is a 1-inch piece for that stuff to spread. So hopefully the lower lake will get treated for the erosion milfoil this year. But we're lacking funds. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and Bill's been there. He's tried to help us push the LID. If we could get an LID on our lake, it would be a wonderful thing. But we got so many people that are totally against it. You know, oh, you're gonna raise my taxes. Big deal. It's gonna keep your lake clean.
Yeah, and refresh my memory, did Upper or Lower Mission apply for the AIS control grants with the DNR last year?
We have every year.
Hopefully that extra funding this year will help.
Yeah.
I'm Mike Knudsen. I'm with the Ruth Lake, not a member of the LID management group, but Dan Brennan is online today, our president. So anyway, we have a mobile unit, and we actually have a lot of voters that come from like East Fox, Emily, even up in Outing. Roosevelt Lake, of course, is part of the county, but it extends up into Outing. And quite often, if there's too many watercraft showing up at Outing, they'll actually tell people if they're headed south to stop in at our landing and stuff like that. I don't know, is there something, are you guys using anything like a Facebook page to tell voters, like a number to call for decon and things like that? Or is it mainly just the website?
Yeah, and I've kind of talked with Daniel on this too, but so we have that Decon hotline that we provide little wallet-sized cards to all of our watercraft inspectors, so they can call that, and the Ruth Lake Decon information is on there and kind of transfers right to Dan's cell, if I'm correct.
You're right.
And then we do have a texting service that we just.
Do?
Yep, that was new last year, and so we'll be continuing that this year, that they can text Crow CWC Decon to this number, and then it'll pop up all the locations that we have, and then it will just take steps to get to where you're going to be located in the county. And then we also have that information online for the general public. So we have some different avenues to get that information, but just making it more easy, acceptable for the public is what we're going to be working on.
Oh, great. Yeah, I couldn't inspect last year, so I wasn't a member of the team, but I know Dan, I thought, mentioned something to me about, but this year I wanted to be more like on-call part-time, and then when someone gets sick or something like that, I can step in and help them, or move a decon unit to maybe to the Emily Fire Department if someone wants to meet there instead of at the lake.
Yeah, that
Or
sounds.
something like that. But we're going to talk about that amongst our lid itself. But that's nice to know that there is that text
Yeah, and just update me with any information, moving forward in the season. I'll reach out to Dan and your guys' association and just make sure that we have everything rolling in place when the season comes.
Okay, thank you.
Tony has his hand up, so you can go ahead, Tony.
Hi, Jessica. Hello, everybody. I have a question about the increase in hourly pay or cost that's being allocated to the 2022 plan. It appears that in 2021, $16.15 was allocated per hour to the AIS plan. In 2022, it looks like it's $20.62. That's an increase of almost $4.50. And I understand we're paying $1 more, and I would agree with that that's a necessity to try to lure other people in. But I guess I need a further breakdown on why the cost has gone up 25% or over 20% this year compared to last year, even though our wage isn't going up that much. It just seems like are there more dollars being allocated or taken from the plan this year for other purposes that are not clear under the salary inspection hours?
Sure, I can expand on that a little bit more. I gave you a few details the other day, but just to go in a little more detail. So part of that is our expenses for hiring our inspectors. So their drug testing, their background testing, and then sorry, I'm looking here. And then any of that supplies and equipment, that's also in that like inspection budget. And some of Nicole's salaries, our lead salary is in there. And then as far as like, obviously the direct salaries for our inspectors, our payment to Ruth Lake for their inspection hours. And then another big increase besides that $1 an hour that you're talking about is the work comp that I mentioned. And then our unemployment that we're paying saw a large increase for 2021. So we budgeted for a decent increase in 2022 as well. So I would say that's probably the biggest part of the increase is unemployment. We're hoping to not see what we budgeted, but we just wanted to make sure we had enough funds there to cover that.
And
Thank you. Go ahead.
I just wanted to also to help, one of the questions that I've seen is, should we continue to do this, or is it cheaper to go to a third-party hiring firm? And Jessica, if you could just share the numbers on how much we believe we save currently, how much we believe we save by while there's an increase in unemployment, an increase in work comp, how much we're still saving this AIS overall plan to continue to still have over 75% of this to go to inspections. I can't remember the exact number, just maybe.
Give me 1 second to pull it up here. So this is just taking into account our actual inspection salaries and taxes, benefits, anything that we pay on the actual inspection part of it. With what we have in the proposed plan, the amount of hours, the rate of pay, if we were to send this off to PenMac, say, as a staffing agency to do this for us, it would cost us almost $58,000 more. I reached out to them to see what they would charge us, and it's a 46.5% per hour charge that they would charge back to us. So like I said, it's about $58,000 more that it would cost us just for our inspectors' salaries. And that's with keeping Nicole doing the scheduling and a lot of the coordination and things like that. If we were to send that over to them, that rate would increase to over 50%, I'm sure.
One of the things that we're affected by greatly is the increase because we buy so many hours from the county. So one of the things that would be helpful to me and to Rob, I'm sure, is as we start to go out to our membership and talk about the fact that we're gonna spend almost half of our budget on AIS inspections, is we would probably need a better breakdown of what those costs are, Jessica, so that we can explain that to our members as we go out and start asking for additional dollars, additional dues, and that kind of thing to join the organization. We just need to make our story and be able to tell our story in an accurate and meaningful way. So.
Okay.
was just curious, is there a schedule ready to be published soon about when you're gonna have the inspector trainings sessions this spring?
Not yet for sure. We're looking at the last weekend of April to start training. We were really hopeful that we could do a one-day in-house training instead of online.
Uh-huh,
That's still very much up in the air.
right,
Right now, it's probably gonna be online again. I know the DNR is staying online.
okay.
Is that for volunteers too? If we get volunteers more than we already have, the three of us?
That would be through the DNR complete. That's all through them. I don't know if that was online. I'm assuming so last year.
Well, I went through a couple of years ago when I came here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they haven't had any in person.
Yeah, I know, because of the COVID.
Yeah.
When it's online, is that 24 hours or is it a certain day? So it's like a pre-recorded
Yep.
session? Okay, good.
Yep.
That makes it pretty convenient for,
Yes, that was kind of our goal.
sure. And you said during the last week of April?
Yeah, our plan right now is to send that out to any inspectors that we have hired at that point.
Oh, you're hired,
April 30th. Yep.
So even though we're a lid, I would be hired through the lid, but.
Yep.
Okay. Do you guys ever do anything and set up a booth at Growing Power Day on June 11th?
No, I don't think we have ever participated in that event.
There's a lot of people attend that, especially if it's a nice day, so.
You still giving out hot dogs?
Do what?
You still giving out hot dogs?
Did they do pancakes or something?
Pancakes for breakfast?
Yeah.
I'm with the Sheriff's Mounted Patrol too, and we're always there for the kids to ride some horses and stuff, so. And I just know there's a lot of people there. So.
Do they let like organizations come?
I don't know, you'd have to call someone at Growing Power about that, but it's not just utilities. I mean,
Right.
it might be something where, because you are a government organization, service organization.
Yeah,
Just a thought,
yeah, that's a good
another way
idea.
to educate and get the word out.
Rich people.
Yeah.
And we are planning on being at they renamed it this year. I'm sorry, I don't remember what they renamed it to, but the home expo that they combined into one.
Oh,
We do plan on being at that as
okay.
land services as a whole, but AIS will be one of the main topics we'll have there.
Oh, cool.
Or is that in the cities?
And it's at the
Oh.
Civic Center.
The end of March, right? Yep.
We were gonna do the boat show as well, but we decided against that this year.
You want me to hand out some brochures? I'm going down there this weekend.
Oh, the one in the cities?
Yeah.
I wanted to go to that one too.
I was gonna go there Saturday.
Yeah, do we have any other questions or comments from anybody online about the proposed 2022 AIS plan?
Did you talk about next steps?
We haven't got there yet.
Tell the legislature to give you more money.
Yes.
I volunteer to go to the legislature and sit outside their office.
I've been down there, and I've been
I'd be
down
tired.
so many times.
And I'm
Oh, really? I've
persistent.
never been down there. I'm going down there the end of March, so on a big tour.
So, we have some next
Hello.
steps here. Oh,
Hello, this is Zoya. I'm
Yeah, go
with
ahead.
Mission Lake Association. I just wanted to make a comment. Reviewed the plan for this year already on some of the documents and been watching your presentation. Thank you. I just want to comment about the model that's used, the Explorer model, to help you make your decision on allocations of hours of inspections. Is predicated heavily on the amount of traffic during inspections. You mentioned earlier that we hadn't had any inspections since 2018. And I think the study covers 3 years, which would mean we haven't had, there's really probably no data on our lakes associated with the model. So I was wondering what we can do to help get more visibility of the traffic we see on our lakes.
Yeah, that's a great question. When we look at our average inspection per hour data, we look at the hours that we have allocated, and then I run the database on seeing how many inspections we have performed. So if your lake association has some volunteers that, you know, have some hours and do inspections at the access, if there's a way to record how many inspections that come through during those hours, that would be some great data that we can contribute to our inspection per hour data. Or we did allocate some for, you know, Upper Mission Lake this year. And so we'll be able to kind of get a snapshot of what's going on for this upcoming season.
Yeah, and yeah, thank you for that question because, oh,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that is why Upper and Lower Mission got ours. It was because of that question. And that, you know, we brought in this very low risk rating to go, it does make sense if we haven't been to a landing with official inspectors for numerous years to kind of have this allocation to make sure that the model hasn't changed or that we need to reallocate. And that is a direct result of that question that was asked last fall and actually I think last spring too. So thank you for that.
Okay, yep, thank you. We would be happy to try to document boat traffic on our lake if there's something we can do to do that. That'll help you with the data gathering.
Yeah, please reach out to me and we can probably come up with some reporting and, you know, some ins and outs of how we can make that work. So look forward to speaking with you further on it.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions or comments out there?
Oh, I guess I want to mention Breezy Point, Decon. We had 11 last year, but that was August and September by the time you got an inspector. I know you had asked for more not documentation, but visible signs out there. So if that's something we can pursue, if we will continue coverage this year or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if that's something that the Lake Association decides to, you know, do that expanded coverage for that decon, maybe we could schedule a meeting before the season starts and talk about what we need to do for maintenance and startup costs and how to get that decon up and running kind of earlier in the season instead of later in the game, and kind of work with each other on that. So.
Okay, because I do think it's, the equipment's there, it could make that one bit of difference. So you just can't pass things up.
Okay, well, just kind of briefly discussing next steps. We are going to be starting our advertising for watercraft inspectors at the end of February, and we'll start our interviewing process in March through April. And like Jessica mentioned, we will be training our inspectors, you know, late April, early May, and our season starts fishing opener. So it just seems like it's right around the corner. But for the proposed 2022 plan, before that all kicks into gear, it is currently in a public 30-day comment period, which will end January 31st on a Monday this month. And then the Crow Wing County Board, that will go to the Crow Wing County Board on February 22nd for official approval. And so that will be our next steps of this upcoming season. Please let us know if you have any questions or comments, or reach out to us for any additional information.
Carrie, I see that you're on there. Did you want to add anything or?
You're speaking to Carrie Hull with Watercraft Inspection DNR.
Yes, sorry, yes.
That's okay. No, I really don't have too much to add. So I guess the only comments I'd like to chat with the volunteers that have identified themselves in the rooms. I didn't know that you were out at the lake this year doing inspections or doing volunteering, I should say. That training needs to be done every year, and if you're at a DNR-owned public access, we need you to go through, you know, some paperwork and training, and if you could contact me, that would be great. I like to organize, you know, some of those hours, and we collect all that data from the volunteers to, you know, kind of know. You said you did upwards of like 60 hours this summer. I didn't know that. So yeah, if you guys could contact me about the volunteers and stuff, we can, you know, get all that organized and get you good to go. Other than that, I could talk about the training, volunteer, or the level 1 and level 2 trainings. We're working on getting a new trainer. That posting is out right now. So if anyone's interested in being a watercraft inspection trainer for the DNR, you could go online and apply. But yeah, we've got one that's, so that position should be filled shortly, and hopefully they can get those trainings set up and stuff, so. But most of our trainings will be online, and then we'll have a couple in-person trainings for the Decon hands-on training, so.
So Carrie, this is Mike Knutson. I'm with the Moose Lake,
Yep.
and I've been an inspector for years, but I didn't participate last year. You said you're looking for an instructor?
So I don't know if anyone knew Carrie Maurer Ackerman. She was our watercraft inspection trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is no longer working for the DNR.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so they're filling her position. So yeah.
But that would be a DNR employee, but I thought you said something about you were wondering if any of the volunteers would be interested in, is that like assisting the
no.
instructor? Or?
No, I mean, anyone out there at all, period.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
just, yeah, not just the volunteers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if anyone wants to be a trainer for the DNR, they would be an employee of the DNR. You'd have to go onto the DNR website. I was just plugging the position.
Yeah, okay. I was just, because I had done that, I had assisted Carrie a few times in that portion of Crow Wing County that where we're located. Whenever she needed to do some training, I would bring our mobile unit.
Yeah, well, if you're looking for a job.
No, I gotta finish remodeling our house first before my wife lets me do it.
Right. Yeah.
Are you gonna be at the boat show this weekend or?
No, I do not believe we have a booth there.
Okay, thank you.
And Carrie, I just have a quick question for you, for those volunteers. Is there a certain time frame during the season that training is offered to volunteers? Is it usually kind of before the season starts or during the season, or maybe some more information on how that?
Yeah, so volunteer training right now is currently online, and we are asking that, you know, the people in the area or in the region contact the supervisors so we can track who's out there. All volunteers have to go through that online training, submit their it's a volunteer form, so I know who they are and how to contact them. And then they also have to go through a background check in order to do inspections at a DNR owned access. So it's kind of like a
Thing. Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
It's more of a liability thing. Well, part of it's liability. Yep.
Yeah. If you're working with the public, we ask that you go through the background check before you go out and talk with the general public. It's a thing that's been in place forever, and all volunteers go through that. So if you're at a DNR owned access, you need to have that, you know, form. I need to know that you're out there. The other thing that was added last year for COVID protocols, we had it was a check-in process. So we had a health screening for all of our employees, and it also extended out to our volunteers. So all the volunteers were supposed to check in before they went to work and said, or went to volunteer and said, yep, I'm cleared to work, no fever, no whatever, no COVID symptoms and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's still going to be in place this summer. So that's kind of why I wanted you to, if you're volunteering out at those accesses, please contact me, get a hold of me, and we'll get you squared away. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Carrie, and maybe we can work together a little bit on if you want to just send me some of that information, and I can update my Lake Association email list. We email over 250 members throughout the county, so maybe we can work on that and hopefully provide them with the good information.
Yep, will do.
Any other questions or final comments before we kind of wrap up today's presentation?
Well, this is Bill Brecken, and I do have a final comment if I can. I really do want to recognize Jessica and Nicole and really all the lake associations and the lake improvement districts. Over the last couple of years, we've come a long way in getting this conversation going. And to get that relationship going, I think with the county and the lake associations and the lake improvement districts. And I'm just seeing a better coordination now, better communication between all of us. And again, the job that Jessica and Nicole are doing has been really helpful in this. So I thank you both for that. So thank you. And thank you all for participating today.
Yes, we appreciate it a lot. Like, we love the feedback we get from you guys, and we always are asking our inspectors too. They're the ones out at the landings, like feedback. It helps our program so much if you guys give us feedback on anything with the plan or things you're seeing that we're not seeing out there on a daily basis. It helps us a lot.
Did you say you love the feedback?
Love is a big word. Love.
She might have had a teaching background. That's the way my wife talks too.
I think we appreciate it.
Yeah, but she's making it personal.
Well, yeah, thank you for everybody who has participated today. If you have any kind of questions that kind of linger that you think of down the road, feel free to reach out to Jessica, myself, or even Gary on some of these questions with our plan and moving forward in the 2022 season. So we're excited.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Jessica.